Fine. While we're live, I love you.
I love you too, and it's good content. And maybe it'll be contagious, and I can get the fuck out of here too.
What was it? This
Oh, man. That was the hardest. Never mind, I can't say it on there.
Fanboy Modeling School. Hello and welcome to Fanboy Modeling School. Of course, I am the Fat Mantis, and I am here with the one, the only
Steve. Real name, no gimmicks. Your friend to the end. What's going on, bud?
There are really no gimmicks with you. Are you sure about that?
No gimmicks. God, I can't afford them. I can't.
This is making sense now. Making sense. How are you today, brother?
I'm doing good, man. While we were waiting for the show to start, I was watching one of those TikTok videos where it seems like the camera just, is beaming in from the Omniverse. No one notices it, about a woman who cheated and came home to a very long, drawn-out way of someone saying, I know what you did, and I'm over you. This guy basically left like 18 letters on the back of a door for a woman to read in sequence.
So this is TikTok drama.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve. Oh, Steven. Welcome in Shaolin Icebox. Welcome in Laney O. We're going on a little late tonight, so we're not going to get our usual huge auditorium filled of fans, but that's fine.
Right.
Because do you remember when this used to be just an intimate conversation between two old friends?
Right.
And then we decided to let these cretins in. And our show just became about shock value and dick jokes.
Well, those are the things that get clicks, right? Dick jokes and shock value and the shocking value of dick jokes. See what I did there?
Before we go any further, we would love it if you subscribe to this channel. Hit like and subscribe and just keep tuning in, man. Fight Juice Online is we're meant for great things. Great things are happening.
Great things.
Fanboy Modeling School is making it happen.
Yes. Honorary mention. YouTubers, content creators, serious at their craft. Some big names. One who is willing to share his story, Tyrone Magnus. Shout out to Tyrone Magnus. You might know him as that big black fellow.
Oh, I watch a lot of big black fellows, but I know him. Wait, no, he came out. I watch Tyrone Magnus. I watch Officer Tatum. I watch all.
He had covered on his channel that another content creator was having a hard time getting a payout from YouTube recently. Substantial amount.
They're finally broke.
And mysteriously, he woke up, I believe it was yesterday or today, and had lost thousands of dollars in revenue. I'm not sure if that was ad revenue. I assume that it is. And also, shout out to his, I believe, fiance, Scarlo, had also lost a great, some change. And apparently, there is no recourse for them to get their money back. Like, they're reaching out to YouTube. They're reaching out to YouTube reps and stuff like that. But yeah, YouTube, can have a glitch that can cost you thousands of dollars. And they're just like, meh.
Oh, this is about a glitch? That drives me nuts. That drives me worse than I thought it was. Before I thought it was a conspiracy, and I was like, you can kind of fight a conspiracy, right?
Right.
Because, I'm used to YouTube. No offense, YouTube. Please monetize. Screwing us.
Yeah.
I'm like their altar boy or some shit.
Girl, I hit three. No, listen, this is a margin of error here. I hit 325 finally, right? Broke the next milestone in my climb to catch up with you. Looked 2 hours later, and I'm back down to 323. because they either declare 2 accounts bots, which is fine. You don't want bot accounts. They don't really
they
help
just
you.
hate you, and they're just taking your people away.
which could also be very true.
Because you won't know who the person is. So theoretically, they could take someone away. It's possible the person will just think you're not posting.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And,
But what are you gonna do, man? It's crazy because people would think about this as not a job. So, for instance, I got out of work at 9 p.m. Forgot I didn't have enough gas in my car to get home, so I had to stop to get gas. Drove 80 miles an hour, which negated the $4 a gallon gas that I had just bought to get here to do this. And why? It's not because it's a burden. It's because it's something I take serious. It's something I enjoy. This goes back to our content creator versus streamer conversation that we used to have on air. I enjoy doing this. I take it very serious. I seldomly cancel a show unless I'm like, oh, I'm fucking dying. I've had you tell me to cancel shows before, so I get where Tyrone's coming from. We're not monetized, but could you imagine where it's your sole income besides what you get from sponsors?
And oh my god, yeah, you pay your rent with it. That would be and then
brutal.
Laney says, "Oh shit, I need gas."
Laney,
don't
gas,
we all,
man.
Laney?
Don't do what I did. I got in, Laney, and my car made that beeping noise. And you really don't have the gas when you turn it on, and it makes the no gas beeping sound first thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die out here. I'm gonna fucking die in the wilderness.
Especially it's cold out, so that's when the psychos come out.
Yeah, I'm a city boy. You know what I'm saying?
I do all my killing in the really cold weather.
I know that you do. I saw that your numbers are going up. Shout out to you.
But I gotta say this about streamers, and I know this has nothing to do with the topics we're gonna get into.
Right.
But you're talking about streamers and why do we do this? Why do we put money and energy and time and discipline into the streams? And right. So I feel like it's like the original Watchmen graphic novel, where the question keeps coming up: why are you a vigilante? And everyone has a stupid reason. Everyone's like, I want to help America, and someone's like, I want to help the underprivileged and the downtrodden, and all these things. But in the narrative, Rorschach is like, they're all wrong. We do it because we are compelled to do it.
Exactly.
There's just you just have like this obsession with doing it, and it's just what you do.
It's true, man. It's absolutely true, bro.
And it separates real streamers from people who are just like, for instance, there are some content creators who are forced to be live streamers because that's where it went. But you can tell they don't like doing it.
Absolutely, they hate it. They
absolutely hate it. Like, here's my weekly live stream. I'm not fielding questions, and they don't even look at their chat. They're just like, "Fuck you," and they're just
So the only time I ever ignored chat, and shout out, man. Hey, you know what, man? You are a good friend, and you've always encouraged me on this journey. Conversations officially, I hadn't done an episode in like 3 or so months or something like that. Right, I had to take a long hiatus. Came back, did the Mike G interview, and I try not to pay attention to the numbers while I'm doing an interview. I looked over, and there were 25 people that came through for that interview. Don't know who they were, except for the obvious, family and stuff like that. But it felt really good to come back to such a warm reception. I hope you enjoyed the interview. I
loved it, man. You kept it real. You kept it incredibly real. It was a good time.
Great guy.
Loved it. What up, Bex? Welcome.
What up, Bex?
Fangirls for fanboys. I love that hashtag. Favorite hashtag in the world.
Yes. Let's get it trending.
Well done. You interviewed the legendary Mike G.
Yeah.
Right.
Great guy, right?
Brothers. He was so easy to talk to.
Yeah.
He was way more like wholesome than I would have thought.
Yeah, no, they were such a wholesome group. It's interesting because he asked me a private question, not private, but afterwards he's like, "Hey, are you gonna ask Red Alert to come on?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to seem like I'm like what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to see like I'm like bandwagon jumping, right? I don't want to like but I was like, if you want to ask him on my behalf, but just to have someone in his status, just say like, hey, it felt good, and then that's off the heels of your triumphant return to Spoon, right?
You realize I deleted the app immediately after, right?
I know you did, but it was so surreal listening to you on there.
It was surreal being on it, man. It really was. You did a great job in your interview. I really enjoyed it. Coco was my host. That was a good time.
Right.
Love Coco. Really want to be supportive of Coco. It's just not my app. And actually being in that interview reminded me that it wasn't my app.
No, I get you. We're firmly planted on this YouTube shit. But let's get it fucking popping.
Wait, I got one more honorable mention.
Oh.
So apparently, soccer is gay, but not just soccer, American soccer.
Oh,
I-
no, you didn't talk about football
it
that way.
sounds like, well, for starters, it's soccer. We are Americans. It is called soccer in this damn language. Don't give into that European bullshit. The point is to check this out. America hasn't been to the last 2 World Cups, or the men haven't.
The men
Because they normally suck. And so finally the men are going this year. And you know, their symbol, the USA, is an emblem that looks like our flag. Right. So, it's in Qatar this year.
Okay.
In the Middle East. And they have laid out the laws over there, and they say any foreigners who come to watch the thing, you cannot openly practice your religion. You may be arrested if you do that. Oof. And they're laying down the laws. They're like, this isn't the West. You're here in the Middle East. And so America has officially, just for this year, changed the bars of the American flag to a rainbow. Because a Qatar is their laws are very anti-gay.
Oh wait, is it pronounced Qatar or Qatar?
I've always called it Qatar, but suddenly I see on the news everyone's calling it Qatar, so I don't know.
Okay. So they went LGBTQ plus for the flag, and that did
the American team. The American team's flossing that. They're repping that hard.
Okay. Did it world peace ushered in?
I don't think anyone noticed because it's just a little emblem right there. They made sure to make a big deal out of it, talk about it after their game.
So a lot of crazy stuff going on in the Middle East. You brought it up, man. Iran, obviously, have you seen the footage? What happened to that young lady, man? She was running from you've heard me speak of the morality police multiple times, right? You've heard me talk about this, and I'm like, you don't know what real quote unquote persecution is. And I'm not diminishing anyone. People can be persecuted on levels, right? But until you've dealt with something like the morality police, where it's like, I have the legal right to do whatever to protect the status quo. That's some backroom KGB shit.
It's scary. It's scary that within the last year, at least 2 women, or at least notably 2 women. I'm willing to bet those numbers are way higher.
Way higher.
But they're making a point about 2 particular women who ended up losing their lives because they weren't wearing their head wrap.
One for the hijab, and then the other one for being a protester, a notable social media protester. And shout out and God bless this young lady, right? Because I'm a huge proponent of people who are really putting it on the line. Look, she took it from social media and she went to the streets, and I don't know if you saw the footage, what may allegedly be the last moments of her life. It started off at one point in the protest, and she flees because she realized they're after her. And the last time we see this young lady alive, she's like hiding behind a car. I think there's some audio or some text messages where she's like, they're near us or they're behind us, and then
it's horrible. And the Iranian team, actually, when they played today, they refused to sing their anthem. In solidarity for the protesters. And so what's happened, because Iran has done this to their players when they go into the Olympics or do things. If they do something bad, they get in trouble when they get back. As a matter of fact, a woman who was in the Olympics competed without her head wrap.
Right, yes.
And she got in trouble.
She's gone. She's gone.
like what? That's insane. I mean, here's what it is.
Bro, hold on for a second. I'm sorry, buddy.
No, it's totally all right. But so it's real. The situation is dire, but honestly, it's not the only country we need to pray for, because nowadays it just seems like we are in the thick of some real demonic, messed up stuff.
Right. Laney's comment. Laney, yes. They've got 14,000 people supposedly and allegedly. We want to be responsible in the world to be in the works to be executed. The women will be R-worded before the death. Laney, I know you thought I was being the hate monger one night when I said what I said on a stream with DaVinci, but it's like, I know the inner workings of what we're talking about, not the R word and all that stuff. I just know that it's like something that a lot of Westerners don't know. It's crazy. But moving on to more
less depressing. Because we try to keep, believe it or not, we try to keep it peppy.
Upbeat.
There's only one topic. Am I right?
We were talking about the Bobbies, right?
That's the War of the Bobs.
The War of the Bobs. Before we get there, Wakanda Forever is now officially in the profit margin. So we'll see where that goes.
They do not call him king. They do not call him prince. They call him Cuckoo's God. That is literally my favorite part of the movie.
You bald-headed demon.
He's so good. He's so good.
So it's, in spite of everything, it's right behind Doctor Strange. It's going to turn a profit for Marvel. It's happening. The Doomsday Sayers were wrong about that.
Well, the question is the coveted billion. And is it possible now to get $1 billion without China? Because China's playing hardball. They're just being a dick to all American movies at this point.
My official stance on it.
Yeah.
Right. I don't heckle. I don't fucking negotiate with the guy that makes my sandwiches. Right. Me and him have a very. You don't want to make it. All right. I'm going next door.
Oh yeah. Don't get me started on my opinions on bodegas in the 5 boroughs that you go there and they don't sell beer and they don't make ham on your sandwich. And I was like, nope.
No.
There's no point in having a bodega.
Remember the place that used to argue with us with the Parmesan sandwiches on Broadway on 103rd? And I'm like, my man, it was 3 patties last week. This is 1.5. You remember this? And you had to basically threaten these guys to be like, no. But so we'll see if it turns a profit. Juxtapose a few more honorables before we get to the Bobs. DC declaring Black Adam going to digital tomorrow, my brother.
I think it's going to be to be honest, I honestly, and I know everyone knows I'm a fan of this movie or whatever, and it might sound that like I'm in their pocket. The truth is, I think it will be a digital darling. There's several reasons why it didn't make a good amount of money, a good chunk of change.
Right.
And it just sucks, man. It really does suck. It sucks for The Rock. It sucks for
really. So couldn't happen to a nicer guy, man. So much ad promo, so a lot of good stuff. I hope that it makes some money digital. Go out and support that. I don't know what else to say about that, man. I hate. I have no problem admitting that I'm wrong. I just hate, say for instance, your take on something being monetarily profitable, it being a success. This is my problem with that sentiment, right? I think we all can agree that Fight Club is a great movie, but was not a monetary theatrical success, right? But it's one of the best movies you've ever seen.
Right. Here's what this is. I do not invalidate the art of it. Yes, there are many good movies didn't make money. However, I would say the creators, their job was to make a good movie that also makes money.
No, I'm right there with you. That I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Same thing with Equilibrium. We saw that in the theater together, and I was like, "This is a great movie," and it got buried because of some 9/11 bullshit. And I'm like, this is nonsense, bro. But I'm really hoping that The Rock gets a second chance. I thought he was a great Black Adam, man. I thought it was a fun movie.
Well, I saw him on the news the other day talking about. Actually, he was talking to men supporting men shit.
Oh, okay.
Like straight up, he was talking about how about how it's important to check your mental health, and you can't always be strong if you're a man, and it's cool to be sensitive and all these things. And when he was saying about that, all of a sudden, I have a feeling he got depressed when Black Adam wasn't doing well. Because you notice he kind of disappeared off the scene and he stopped tweeting.
And I get that because he poured his heart into this, man. And I think The Rock is that type of guy where he gets behind everything.
1,000%. He's enthusiastic. He's that guy. He's like, let's do this.
I remember when Hercules was coming out, and I'm one of those people. I was on the bandwagon. You remember back in the day, comics, they would have the graphic design, beautiful artistic designs for the collectible cards for you know what I'm talking about, right? And it would be for Dungeons and Dragons, other RPGs, and you're like, man, this is some of the most beautiful illustrations. There's a shot when he's about to fight the Nemean lion or whatever, and I was like, man, this is right out of that. And I remember Grace Randolph said the same thing. Movie was horrible. The movie was horrible. But he got behind it. And then my last honorable mention is, right before we get to the Bobbies, and I think this is related to the Bobs, Blade got a new writer and director declared today. They got their new writer and director, and yeah, what your thoughts? So before you say that, the new writer and director, new director is from Lovecraft Country, right?
I love that. I absolutely love that. And so I don't know how much they're going to retain from the last story, but now that they've scrapped the old script, I don't know if these are rumors or what, but people are talking about what was in the old script. And I am so glad the old script didn't get made.
Yeah.
So apparently he was going to find the daughter of Dracula and train her to be a monster hunter. Blade, and it starts in the 20s and then it goes up to modern age and all these things. And I was like, I do not want more little kids in my MCU.
No, I don't.
Not to Blade. Don't do it to Blade. For the love of Christ, don't do it to Blade.
So apparently this is going to be a hard R movie. It's going to be dark, and
that's what it needs to be. And the little kid would ruin that.
Yeah, and they're rewriting it from the ground up. So we'll see what that is. I think this directly relates to the Battle of the Bobs. I also find myself in agreement with other commentators on YouTube of the conservative variety. I don't know how that relates to comics, conservative or liberal. I just don't see. Sometimes I can't make the connection, but I do think that Black Panther's less than $1 billion expectation potential made them go, okay, if this movie's not going to make $1 billion, something's not right. So let's get right into the Battle of the Bobs.
Well, real quick, first RM says, I do think the public has superhero movie burnout. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
I don't think fully. I still think a movie can make $1 billion without China. It's just got to be the right movie.
No, it's all about rewatchability. I'm in the Blurred group on YouTube, not YouTube, on Facebook RM, and this is a small group. It's like maybe 10,000 people in this group. It sounds like a lot, but it's very small. And multiple people have gone to see Black Panther multiple times. Like the pictures of the dashikis and like people going to see it. My mom went to go see it. She absolutely loved it. She gave it a 10. Like she thought it was the perfect movie, and my mom isn't easily impressed by anything.
So Arms is a new Superman Cavill movie would hit it. I think if they hit it, but however, just like here's what I'm saying. I don't think Black Adam was going to make its billion. I don't think even with China it wouldn't have made billion. But here's what I'm saying. It didn't even hurt it even more that they put it so close to Black Panther. So Henry Cavill, I think, could hit if they put their movie wise enough away from a Marvel movie.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a good move, man. And you got to remember that Avatar is like a couple of weeks away, and so Black Panther goes uncontended for a couple of weekends.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. They should have put Black Adam out in September. Let him just dominate for the month. Give him.
Yeah, and they're expecting a little bit of a surge. Family coming back for Thanksgiving, but. Are you ready for the Bobs, man? Yeah, ready
for the Bobs. I am ready for the freaking Bobs. And I want to complain about something.
Well, I saw your tweet, so I knew you were on full tilt. This news broke last night. Bob Chapek is out. Let me know.
Fired. Note that he got
Let
fired.
me normalize that, right? It is bad for the market. It's bad for investors when something like this happens, but it must have been, and I think Campia, go check out Campia's coverage of this. It had to be something that was so in need to happen that they were like, we're willing to watch the stock tank a little bit to get this guy out, especially after the fact that they just renewed his contract for another 3 years.
Right. He was just renewed. Another thing is, how they be loving executives. Executives watch each other's balls all the time. Yeah. And they're not going to let anyone, you know what I'm saying? They don't Kathleen Kennedy should have been out a while ago. They were angry at her, but they were never angry enough to be like, well, it will disgrace her if we fire her. Let her ride off into the sunset.
Right.
But they're like Chapek gets no happy ending. Get him out of the building. We got security guards roughing him up on his way out.
He doesn't get a happy ending in life. He doesn't get one at the massage parlor. They're like,
I just want to get the picture of my daughter, and then they take it and smash it over his head.
Yeah, so he's out, and Big Daddy Bob is back in Bob Iger, you know, and
out of retirement.
out of retirement.
Back, he was a filthy rich. Homeboy's filthy rich from all the money he made. 15 years as the CEO of Walt Disney Company, and he's back.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what could convince you to come back. I'm assuming it's a lot of money. Somebody told me he's taking even a pay cut to be there. I don't know why anyone would do that.
Well, there's some speculation going on here. Again, according to Campia, and Campia said, don't quote him on this, but the original report that broke was that there was some, there may have been some dissension in the ranks. Even speculation that Feige and a few other people might have gone to the board members and said, it's him or us.
Do you think it's possible that Kennedy and Feige blamed financial losses? And remember, Feige has not really lost money. He's always made money,
right,
but they're just not making as much money. But do you think he blamed that? He's like, it's on Chapek.
I don't think they would let Kathleen Kennedy into that conversation. They're like, yo, she's got to wait outside. But
RM says they hated Chapek so much, they walked him out of Dodger Stadium right before he was supposed to introduce Elton John.
Is that real?
Yeah, so he was fired right before because I didn't know he was walked out, but I knew here's what it is. I knew that night they were filming for Disney Plus a documentary, like a live concert of Elton John, and Chapek was supposed to introduce him, and apparently he didn't. And so RM is saying he was literally walked out and fired.
Well, apparently he'd also made some things I didn't know. He made some decisions that were less than desirable. He, some cuts, brought some bankers in as I don't know about that.
I just know a lot of people who are diehard. There's these diehard Disney people who are all about the parks.
Yeah.
Every year they go to the parks and they're obsessed with the parks. Apparently he did so much cutting on the parks that they it's not magical to go to Disney World anymore. Like people go and they're like, this is the ghetto world.
I mean, man, it's crazy because not unfortunately, but I got to give it to the head host over at Geeks and Gamers. He called this, man. And, we'll see if Joe Rogan's right about something he called as well. The head guy over at Geeks and Gamer, with the baseball cap, that one dude when he still didn't have a nice mic and he was still using a USB mic, said that Big Bob would be back to replace Little Bob. And let's be real. Little Bob took over the job at the worst time to take over a job, right? He took over the job.
He came in during the beginning of the pandemic.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not got to be easy for you. And ultimately, here's the thing. Star Wars also makes money, but it's not hitting the expectations. Marvel not hitting expectations. And they got to blame somebody. Now, I could just tell Chapek, he just gives off a dumbass vibe to me.
Right.
I don't claim to be in the boardroom when he talks, but I'm wondering if he on Sunday night he pitched he was like, I think the new center of the MCU should be the Eternals, and they said security.
Well, apparently, Bob Chapek was tied closely to the debacle, which is the Scarlett Johansson situation. Instead of just paying her what she's owed, right?
Yeah. He literally he pissed off an actor they work with regularly, to the point where she felt she had to sue us to get her. They were nickel and diming her basically of a few bucks,
and they still had to pay her
a few million, right?
Yeah, they still had to pay her. Contract's a contract. Same thing Kanye's going through with Adidas. I'm sorry for all the Kanye haters, and I'm not a Kanye supporter, but if you don't think money. Yeah, if you don't think Adidas is going to pay, it's in the contract. He's going to get that billion back. It's in the contract.
Chapek said that adults don't watch animated movies anymore, which is crazy because I think adults nowadays watch more than in the past.
I think so. I think it's escapism is way higher, and I think people are willing to sit down and enjoy something that's going to pull them out of their reality. But, we got Big Daddy Bob back in there, and, he's got 2 years to course correct. And then, the stipulation is that he's going to work closely with the board to find his replacement and make sure whoever the replacement is going to follow the course correction.
So you believe
go for
that
it.
He has a plan?
I think a guy like that always has a plan. I think a guy like that planned for this to happen. right?
Yeah.
Like, he planned. He's like, "Where's the fall guy? What's old Chapek doing?
Yeah.
What's ticket holder doing?"
But do you think there's a new plan that the reason why he's so confident right now because he has swagger right now. Iger has Big Bob has super swagger. Do you think he's already had a plan and he's like, I already know what I'm going to do to fix all these problems?
Yeah, well, okay, you ready for me to go tin foil on you, tin cap on you?
That's what I'm here for.
The delays and the rewrites. Yeah, I think they knew this was going to happen, and Bob was like, "Shut it all down." Grinding halt.
Yeah.
Grinding halt. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it back to quality because
the quality has been questionable for a lot of their brands.
Yeah, well, Big Bob's is willing to spend money to make sure things have quality. There's some speculation that Little Bob also is the reason that we got some subpar CGI.
Probably a nickel and diming people, probably.
So yes, to answer your question, yes, I think a guy like that has a plan. Whether or not it's a fully fleshed out plan, I do think he has a plan. And I think that, will things turn around instantly? No, but I think we're already heading in that direction. Delays aren't always a bad thing, especially when you're the consumer, right? We know this as gamers. RM knows this. As a gamer, it doesn't always mean that it's a bad thing that a game is getting delayed, right? So if a property is being delayed, something happened that made them go, put the brakes on, change the release date.
I'm surprised, honestly, really am surprised they did not change the release date for She-Hulk. It had such production problems. It blows my mind that they did not delay it.
Oh, man, I remember I really enjoyed the beginning of that show.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the first one too. Yeah, no, I mean this is totally nuts. People are celebrating in the streets like it's the newest, hottest thing in the world. I mean, is it? Do you think he can mess up? I don't think he's a god. That's the thing. I really don't think he's a god. I don't think he's gonna.
Pokey, that's why thank you for coming through, Pokey. And that's why it's so important to make sure you like, share, and subscribe, because we all know for smaller YouTubers like ourselves, it's all about this grassroots community stuff. So if it doesn't show us as live, then we're really glad that
they hate us, Pokey, but thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
They want to shut us down on what we're talking about right now.
It's an interesting thing, right? What separates our show from YouTuber X? Not much. Camera quality on point here. Mic quality on point.
We have integrity. YouTuber X does not. You wouldn't believe the things I've seen YouTuber X talking about today.
Oh, what really? What did YouTuber X have to say about the Bob War?
All these stories about the Bob War. She said this is Bob Iger's revenge because Bob Chapek muscled him out of his own company, and I'm like, that is not how that went.
No, that's not how that went at all.
She was adding drama and just nonsense to it.
Right. Drama sells, but it's wrong.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no integrity. And actually, let's bitch about YouTuber X, but also someone else. There's another one out there that we haven't made a nickname for, but I saw two examples of what was going on. So YouTuber X claims to have known this was coming. He's like, yeah, my insiders told me, but we didn't know when it was going to happen, so I didn't make a video. And I'm like, you're a scooper. If you actually knew, you should say before it happened. It's like a psychic being like, the house burns down. And they're like, oh, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell us, you ass?
We could have saved grandma.
Yes. And so it's not that she knew and she didn't feel like telling us. Because a lot of times she says she doesn't want to ruin movies for us by telling us details. It's if you're a scooper, it's your job to ruin the movie for us.
Here's the thing about that lie right there that was blatantly told. When something happens that she reported on, she has no problem saying, as I reported. Absolutely one of her favorite things. There was another scooper, who literally, when it came on, he did a video and he said, I just got off the phone with my insider and they're confirming it's true. And I'm like, I already know it's true because all the news outlets are already telling me this. Right.
And he's like, but Bob Iger's not going to be able to save Disney because you don't. And this guy's a serious Disney hater. He hates Marvel, he hates Star Wars. He always gives everything bad reviews. And he's like, you wouldn't believe what they're going to do to the future of Disney, but I can't tell you because I want to get my source in trouble. And I'm like, then don't pretend like you have a source. He's lying. He doesn't have a source.
Right.
Why pretend that you have access?
I don't know if it's a clout issue. I don't know what that's about, man, but I don't think anyone actually saw this coming. Like, I mean, some people, guessed, but I don't think anyone had an inside line on this, man. But for this to happen, it's monumental in content because they really are willing to watch the stocks tank to get this guy out of the job, man. And like,
I think it is going to take a turn for the good. And I think if Iger does one cool thing, people will then be like, we have faith again. Yes. Iger magic. So yeah, sometimes you got to let your stock suck.
Well, what do you think this means for the immediate future? What did delays in mind? What do you think this means?
So if he has half a brain, which I think he does, he's gonna force Marvel and Star Wars to go through some quality control issues, particularly with their Disney Plus stuff. Right. I think they need to get mainstream Disney back on the map. Maybe I'm just in a bubble because I'm a comic book nerd, but I feel the only thing that people ever really focus on is Disney and Marvel. Right. I don't remember a Disney movie I had to go see that changed my shit. I don't remember the last time there was a Frozen.
Right.
Even the early reviews of what is it, Strange World?
Right.
That new Pixar movie, they're saying it's garbage. Everyone's saying it's garbage.
Well, yeah. Well, how much did Little Bob have control over this? Because it comes down to, is something garbage because it's just creatively bad, or that the penny pinchers get mixed up in it and make it bad, right? That they put unnecessary roadblocks that didn't need to be there, CGI discrepancies. Fact of the matter is, Phase 4 was not the best phase in Marvel, man, and that's what I'm measuring this against. This is the property I care about most in Disney. I know that we have some diehard Star Wars fans, and that struggle too. It's time to make the obvious decisions, right? It's time to put the performers in the front, right? It's time to give Filoni and what's your man's name?
Johnny Favs.
Yeah, it's time to put them in charge of that property. It's time to turn everything back over to Kevin and to scale, whatever else has been going on in Marvel back, and say we need to worry about quality at the ground level and make sure we're putting out things that are going to draw people in, especially in a time where people are penny pinching, right? If you're telling me inflation is a huge issue, then we need to be focused on quality. What's going to make a person spend money on a subscription or on a ticket and have them go out if it's not worth it, right? It's gotta be good. It has to be.
So here's the thing. I did like Encanto. Thank you for reminding me of that, RM. I do like Encanto. Actually, the story of Bruno makes me cry.
I still haven't watched that movie.
The story of Bruno is about the uncle nobody loved.
We don't talk about Bruno. We just don't. We don't feed him. We don't talk about him.
Exactly. We don't talk about Bruno. He's a motherfucker with deep in attic. Sometimes I feel like I'm Bruno. But for RM, I'm saying it was a good movie, but you are right. It wasn't the greatest. It's not like legendary status. And I know it's unacceptable. Like, it's so mean of me to say every one of your movies should be legendary. Obviously, that's impossible to do.
Right.
But what are they missing? What are they messing up on? For me, a lot of things, it's Disney Plus. I feel like I'm wasting. Now, if I wasn't using someone else's account, I would cancel.
100%. 100%. You look at something like Moon Knight. This is when I knew there was a huge issue. I'm watching Moon Knight and I'm going, is there a direction?
I didn't hate Moon Knight, but it wasn't spectacular. It wasn't like I wasn't excited on that Wednesday morning to be like, yes. Yeah.
You covered it because you had to. You had to, at a certain point. And then, the crescendo was She-Hulk. Yeah, wait, real quick. I know we're talking about the Bobs, but we got to talk about Wakanda Forever in regards to this, right? So Black YouTube has gotten a hold of Wakanda Forever, and man, it's very divisive right now in Black
I see
YouTube.
a lot of Black YouTubers shitting on it.
Yes, very divisive, very divisive. Shout out to Courtney Michelle, formerly of the Lapeef Network, still a Lapeef affiliated content creator. She had some issues with Wakanda Forever and the misrepresentation of what she describes as black males or the lack thereof. She felt like there were no strong black male figures in that movie. And I'm wondering, if Big Bob is going to course correct there. He's like, we're not giving the fans what they want.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem, and we got to analyze the story of Black Panther to get to the answer of this, right?
Okay.
At the end of the day, all they did was continue the stories of the people who surrounded Black Panther.
Right.
Before, T'Challa was the main strong black male. But if he is suddenly exited and they just have another one replace him, it will feel bad. We'll be like, you can't have M'Baku be the new Black Panther. He can't take over this franchise. It's disrespectful. So they were damned if they did. They were damned if they didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel, and I do respect the decision to continue the story of the characters, his mother, his sister, his bodyguard, and M'Baku. Right. That guy was his best friend that he used to have fist fights with.
Yeah.
You're my M'Baku.
I knew. I was waiting for I was waiting for that. I was absolutely waiting for that. I respect
that they didn't suddenly, because there was a rumor that I don't know why, but people had a rumor that like that dude from Bridgerton was going to come and take over.
Oh, that was a bad rumor. I was like,
I would have lost my mind if they did that. For starters, he's and here's me being a hypocrite. He's a light skin. And I'm like,
no light skins in Wakanda.
Here's what I'm saying. I obviously, I respect, and love, and I believe the future is in the mulattoism of it all. Me and my people will rule. However, not Wakanda.
No, you're not going to rule the sovereign state of Wakanda. This, last empire in Africa.
That's not what I want to see. That's not what I want to see. But I'm fine with Shuri going into it. But what is the problem with not having a strong black male? Is it somehow subtly they feel like it's a jab at the community and how strong black males flee familial like things and stuff like that? Is that what they're trying to say? Is there some deep
no so according to Courtney Michelle, it's the misrepresentation of not having a strong black male present and not putting that forefront and representing the strong independent black woman, which I actually didn't get from this movie. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get that from Wakanda Forever. I didn't get the Shuri was like, I don't need nobody type of attitude. She's like, I'm just stepping into the role and doing what needs to be done. So I think that's kind of a straw man argument there.
I mean, yeah. What was it? What are they going to do? Bring the Bridgerton guy in? We would have hated that, right?
Right.
M'Baku. I do wish there was more M'Baku. He's my favorite.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'm being a sexist, but he is the character.
It's okay. But are these things that Big Bob is going to address in the next 2 years, right? Is Big Bob going to be able to course correct, or is this just a smokescreen, right? Was Little Bob the fall guy for something he couldn't control?
Is it really the board who's screwing us over? That's a question. Will Iger just rule in name alone, and they'll still make all the same mistakes? That's another possibility.
Exactly, man.
I wonder. Here's the problem. For a celebrity like Kanye West, for a company like Disney, they have to be self-aware. The question is, do you think Disney is self-aware enough to look at the tweets and the reviews of the normal man on the street and go, okay, they don't want to see a movie that is devoid of strong black male. They do not want to see that taken out.
No, I don't think they've reached that place where they understand that there's a fine balance where it's like, hey, a part of what you're seeing could be vitriol on the internet. Another part of it could also be that people want a balanced approach when it comes to storytelling, right? People want, okay, you're going to talk about narratives, but make sure you don't sacrifice everything at the altar of trying to be inclusive. Like, make this story good. And if the story is good, then people will forget about any proposed narrative. Now, will Bob do that? Will Kevin Feige do that? Because this falls at his feet, right? Right going into phase 4, he made some statements about, what phase 4 is going to be about. And, inclusion was that at the forefront.
Here's my sorry. Here's my unpopular thought about what Kevin Feige's going through. I'm hoping he's like Tom Brady and he can pin it on having a divorce. Later on, it's revealed he's like, my wife left me. I was asleep at the wheel. Because that's what Tom Brady's doing. And I'm like, right. Okay, you're excused for a bad season.
Man, fucking Giselle, right? What was she thinking?
Women models. Expecting a man to retire after being the GOAT, having 7 Super Bowl rings, most amount of appearances in any postseason.
When you can be the GOAT and get caught cheating and just your defense be, you might want to give this guy a couple of years to kind of work it out in the system.
So, RM says I liked every female character other than Riri. Agreed. But I did want Daniel Kaluuya back. I didn't want him back. Remember the traitor from the first one?
Right. I actually did want him back.
Oh,
I wanted him back. I wanted to know what was going on with that story. But swing and a miss. And you got to be honest with that.
RM continues and says, I mean, this was all Ryan Coogler as far as I could see. It was his story. So I'll tell you this. One of the reasons I realize I'm critical of it is some of my favorite. I love a lot of Batman graphic novels and stories, right?
Right.
But I have to say, Battle for the Cowl was an amazing limited series.
Okay.
After Batman dies and all the Robins think they should be Batman, they should have the right for Batman. And there's all these things where they're competing for each other to be the better crime fighter. But they take time to show the characters mourning. And these guys have a long mourning period.
Okay.
Same thing with Captain America. I forget what it was called. But it was a whole thing about Bucky and Falcon fighting over the shield.
Okay.
Who should get the shield. And so these are such great after a character dies, stories. I was hoping Wakanda Forever would be that. And it was that for like 5 minutes. And then they just went into another story.
Yeah. No, I'm in total agreement with that point right there. I was listening to the OG Star talk about Wakanda Forever tonight before we started this show. And he actually took more umbrage, or some of his callers took umbrage with the fact that they felt like the story was divided between the Latino and Black commentary. And I was like, that's something I hadn't taken into consideration because I didn't have an issue with it, right? I'm watching the movie with my son who's, half African-American, who's half Hispanic, half Latino. And I'm like, oh, this is good. We get a full balanced approach, but I guess that's something I should be more cognizant of. Did people walk out the theater feeling like it was no longer the Shiki party? Did they walk out the theater feeling like it wasn't totally representing them?
I see on YouTube a lot of Black creators are super critical, and I don't know if they're jumping on a bandwagon or what.
They are 100% a bandwagon. Echo chamber bandwagon, yeah.
However, my community, my Black community that I know in person, all collectively love it. And if I say bad things about it, they're like, "Yo, man, no, it was awesome. It was amazing."
Right.
I'm like, "Okay, I'm glad you liked the movie."
They're like, no. It's awesome. It's amazing. Say it. You say it right now.
Yeah, no. So you know what I'm saying. So I'm getting mixed signals as to what people actually want or feel about it.
But I use that as a framing device because what does it really matter with Bob coming back in? He's an old white man. How's he going to improve the situation? So I do believe that we're going to be getting another Black Panther movie. Oh man, we didn't talk about honorable mention, so I guess we should. Rest in peace to the Green Ranger.
Oh my God, yo! I literally cried that day.
Did you?
I did, yo. So my sister sent me a text from her, a quote from her son. She said, my son asked, is this the worst year? Because we lost Kevin Conroy and David Jason Frank. And I said, what? And I didn't even realize. I didn't know. I hadn't gotten the news.
Right.
And I was like, and then when you find out how he lost his life, I'm like, 49 years old.
I don't know if 2018 is worse for celebrity death or 2022, because not only did we lose David Frank, the Green Ranger, we lost Anthony Rumble Johnson, we lost Conroy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a horrible year. It's a horrible year.
Lady says, and then they killed the mother. Like, we should have been mourning T'Challa the whole movie. I agree.
Yes.
Shouldn't have been 2 funerals. Shouldn't be all this killing. Already losing him is like enough death, in my opinion.
Right. No, I dig it. But again, how's Big Bob going to address this? You know, how's he going to address it? You know, we still got a bunch of stuff on the slate that we need to be looking at. We got James Gunn in the background for DC Studios, right? Something you got to pay attention to as someone coming in and saying, hey, we might have viable competition. Here's a guy that sat at the table, knows our framework, what we're going to do. What are we going to do to course correct? And I think the first thing is delay, revamp, redirect, right? Redirect.
It's my theory that Marvel, and even before this happened, I was thinking Kevin was going to do this. I think they are going to lick their wounds, and they are going to slow down on releasing things that in Marvel. That's absolutely what I thought they're going to do. And I thought that that's going to give DC a chance to start releasing more movies and do like a catch up. If they'll ever catch up to Marvel, probably not. But I do think they'll get back in the fight, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They'll go back to their corner, get regrouped. I was actually watching all the DC animated movies, and I was thinking, wow, they really did kill Marvel in this space right here. They made some amazing animated movies, starting with Flashpoint, right? The reboot, and then everything after that. You know, there is a cohesive story there. By the way,
there's a bunch of them. Like, there's a bunch that I love. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And honestly, if they're ever in doubt, about a script or a movie, just strictly adapt the comic. Right. I gotta say that also DC animation sometimes just like will strictly adapt a comic, and they do it so well.
Right.
Like, I already liked the Dark Knight Returns. But, they did a 2-movie. They did 1.5 hour movies. And it is amazing to watch on screen.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's so amazing. And so, do you know his whole, when the power goes out, you remember that story where the power goes out and Batman's like, how am I going to get this under control? And then he goes to the gang, the Sons of Batman.
Right.
And he gives this speech and he takes a gun out of one of their arms because they all have guns and they're ready to kill. And he's riding a horse because there's no electricity, and cars can't run. And then he's just like, he says, tonight we are the law. Tonight I am the law. And he says, and he's like, we're going to take it back, but not with these weapons. These are the weapons of cowards. And he breaks the gun in half. And then he says, tonight all you will use is your brains and your fists. And he sends this gang out into the city streets to take control of the city, and are beating people up violently. And it's just such a heroic but savage moment. And I was like, I would love to see that in live action. That would be amazing.
100%. Crazy. Missed opportunities. I think that's the type of Batman we would have got with Ben Affleck. But I bring it back yet again. What is Big Dog going to do?
There's rumors.
There's rumors. There's talk.
It's only rumors. So we can't really
murmurings.
A lot of people like to make videos and just report on rumors, and I don't like that because obviously the rumor is, who are they going to keep? The talk is, are they going to keep Ben Affleck, or are they going to get rid? Are they going to keep Pattinson? And there's a rumor that Ben Affleck might be willing to come back, which I would love. I'm like a little girl right now, super happy. But once again, it's just in the rumor stage, and until something is announced, you can't really take it seriously.
No, you can't, and that's why I don't do a lot of article commentary. Right? I know you're against the article commentary. It's just like
it's the lowest form of YouTubing.
It's fishing at its best.
Yes.
So okay, let's put you in the driver's seat right now. Right? You're Big Bob. What are your next steps? What are you releasing? Star Wars, Marvel wise? What are you green lighting? What are you red lighting? What are you doing?
Okay. So I can take creative control.
Yeah, complete control.
So check this out. I would take the writing staff and Tony Gilroy, the the showrunner for Andor,
Okay.
and put them on season 2 of Obi-Wan.
Is there going to be a season 2? Wait, what?
Well,
What?
they're just talking about it. It's
Okay.
they're thinking like, can we do this? I think because here's what I'm saying. Andor is the most adult, most together, most like formulated, like together, like thought, like intelligent Star Wars ever. There's no Jedis in it, so it feels weird.
Right.
I think if you mix them two, it would be an unstoppable combination.
Okay, I dig that. Okay.
I would certainly get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. I would be respectful to her, but I would pay her to go away. I'd be like, why don't we give you a fat check and you just resign? We'll make it look good. We'll throw you a party. We'll make a whole thing. We'll dedicate a movie to you. We'll be like dedication to Kathleen Kennedy.
Sandwiches,
Yeah, we'll have the whole foot long shit. No, I'm sorry, 6 foot. Okay, we couldn't get the 6 footer, so there are 6 foot long sandwiches.
And you can only have one per person. And here's a complimentary bag of Lay's chips.
RM says Andor season 2 just started shooting today. Actually, yes, it did.
Yeah.
I truly need to binge Andor. You do, Lainey. The later episodes get incredibly good. And so here's what it is. I have faith in Feige. I have such faith in Feige. But I would have a sit down with Feige, and I would be like, you need to go back to being hands-on, which means you need to shrink your thing. Less Disney Plus shows.
Right.
And, can you be, I wouldn't tell him how to do his job, but I'd be like, you need to be more selective about what movies you want. No more Eternals who are like D-level heroes that no one's heard of, and they get a movie.
No.
You're gonna give the big names their movies.
Right, we're gonna put, make the movies that put the butts in the seats, essentially.
Because here's what it is: superheroes are like the music industry. It takes hype to make it happen, and so Eternals didn't have any hype. It's already starting off with a negative on it, right? And so everyone did. Like Shang-Chi did too. I like Shang-Chi way better than Eternals, but I'm saying most people don't know who Shang-Chi is.
Right. Not a movie I would have made. I enjoyed it, but I would not have greenlit it at all.
Would not have greenlit that at all.
I think I would upstart the scale, when the rollout for mutants and A versus X, right? I'd be like,
they might need to. That's funny because that's a secret weapon they have hidden. Right. And you know how Feige's like, it's down the road? They might have to break it out sooner.
Yeah, no, they definitely need to I think from my vantage point, they need to expedite the timeline on mutants and X-Men and how they're going to do that. And then also I agree with what you're saying, shrink it, make it better. I think with Black Panther being the end of phase 4 and Ant-Man officially kicking off phase 5, I would need that movie to really get us firmly planted in where the hell is this whole thing going. In regards to Star Wars, Kennedy's out, Filoni and what's the other guy's name?
John Favreau.
Johnny Favreau, they're in. They take over the Acolyte. They gave us Tales of the Jedi. Now let's get Tales of the Sith.
Keep more of those. Produce more of those.
On the board. Let's get that rolling. And I think we start looking at the parks. Right, we start looking at how we can get people back to the parks. We mend relations with Florida. All right, because if the park ain't making money,
actually. So what do you think about this in general? Because this has to do with the Florida mending the whole thing. I would stop this endless quest for political wokeness or any type of politics in the work.
Right. Okay.
I'd be like, there's no reason for us to verbally comment on the things that politicians are doing.
Right.
People say all the time, they're like, movies are inherently and stories are inherently political. No, they are not. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs had nothing to do with the modern day politics. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just a movie.
It has to do with communism.
Yeah, Little Mermaid was not about the Cold War. Okay, so and that's what I'm saying. Just make a good movie and stop getting distracted. They're getting distracted about everything.
Right.
Like, I certainly wouldn't chime in on any more political statements or anything like that. And
let the politicians make an ass of themselves. Oh, by the way, welcome back Trump and Andrew Tate to Twitter.
Oh, that was on my list of things we should talk about. Everyone got unbanned, and I love that somebody was like, just said to Elon, they were like, Elon, you need to bring back Alex Jones. And you know how Elon always makes jokes? He just goes, no. He didn't bother with a joke. He's just like, no.
No. That guy's not welcome here. Your thoughts? The big Trumpster, Andrew Tate, back reinstated fully on Twitter.
See, RM says Snow White is a victim of the patriarchy. She is not. This is what it is. This is the problem with these activists nowadays. They take something innocent in a cartoon and they're like, well, obviously this is about transgenderism and society's inability. And I'm like, yo, it's Big Hero 6. It's not about that.
Well, you can't really even make that argument because since the antagonist is a female, right? There's no evidence that anyone did anything to the evil queen other than give her an opportunity.
Oh, right. She was able to go all the way to the top, right?
Yeah.
She wasn't making 70 cents on the dollar.
No.
Well, I'm sorry, but you were saying about Twitter.
Tate, Trump, back on. Yee's reinstated, breaking his 30-day fast. I don't know if you know this, but Barclays Center, Kyrie Irving, got the warmest welcome from a certain group, and they were outside chanting and singing on behalf of Kyrie. So a lot of stuff going on there, but let's just start with Andrew Tate and these guys.
I'll say real quick, Kyrie, because I don't think we need to talk about Kyrie as a subject tonight. But I will say just real quick on him. I never thought that I'd have him or that group's back, and I've never had a problem with him. But that group has, obviously that group hates me. They hate a lot of people. I hate them. However, I will fight to the death to allow them to speak and have opinion.
Right.
And so it's crazy that I'm like celebrating. I'm like, yay! But I respect. He had his own religious beliefs. They made the mistake of sharing them with the world, and of course they went after him. But I do think this is a victory. The Kyrie.
Okay. Yeah. Now let's start with Trump. Social capital.
Okay, so this idiot has not tweeted yet.
Oh,
and so what it is, I found out, is that when he made Truth Social, he went in a deal with like other business partners, and he signed a contract that on social media he'd only first put it on Truth Social, and wasn't allowed to put it on any other social media for 6 hours. Which is making me realize that, as I was like, he doesn't need to he's going to forget about whatever he's going on about. Right. He goes from one subject to another. He's not going to want to keep retweeting on 2 different platforms. No.
If they don't have a plugin that allows him to tweet and put on Truth Social at the same time, he's like, I forget it. But, he's back, and, Elon rolled out the Twitter poll. It wasn't a landslide, but millions showed up.
Yeah, and actually I voted no.
Oh, interesting.
Believe it or not. And so here's what I'm saying. I do think as a business decision, it jeopardizes his ability to make money.
Okay.
And that's why I would be like, maybe I shouldn't bring him back. I don't agree with the original decision to get him off. However, the fact that like Elon's in a shaky position in Twitter, and advertisers could back out at any minute, and he's gonna bring Trump, because people really seem to hate Trump, and so I would have probably kept him off for longer. I would have kept lying to the people and be like, we're still deciding, we're still analyzing all his tweets, and really just keep him off as long as I could.
I agree with that, man. He's such a... All right, what I'm about to say is it's so antithetical to what I actually believe, man. But he is so divisive, right? He's so divisive that I would have 100% probably not brought him back.
Right.
I probably would not have brought him back.
Just like Alex Jones. It's smart not to bring on Alex Jones.
Yeah, I wouldn't have brought him back because it just steers the conversation away from where I would be wanting to take Twitter, taking it private again, which is like, I want to prove that it can be stable. I want to prove that, I'm not just going to let anyone say anything. And he's such a wild card where he's going to do the 2 things that I don't want, right? He's going to prove me wrong. He's going to say some crazy shit.
Right. And then you're like, damn, why did I trust him?
Why did I let him have more tuna fish sandwiches?
RM's like, she was forced to perform unpaid labor for 7 male dwarves. Well, what about room and board? She was lost in the woods.
Wait. What unpaid labor?
She's saying she cooked and cleaned for the Seven Dwarves, but she seemed to be into it.
So no, that wasn't labor. That was like a common decision. That was communism. Like there was a mutual gain.
Right. They labored. She lived in their house and ate their food. So she had to pay somehow. And trust me, there are worse ways to pay Seven Dwarves for room and board. Okay. So.
Yeah, it's true. Good point. I had never taken it that far. Now let's Andrew Tate. I know you're not huge into the Andrew Tate manosphere stuff.
I'm fine with him back. I'm fine with him back.
Right.
And so yeah, like I said, once again, I do not personally subscribe to his thing, but I will fight to the death for his freedom to say it.
Right.
And if that's his thing, that's his thing. And once again, people are like, we should throw him off because he's poisoning young people's minds. I'm like, no, you need to do better than that. Because you could say anyone's poisoning a kid's mind. You know what I mean?
For sure. There are many liberal who are poisoning kids' minds, and no one's allowed to critique or say anything about that. In regards to the manosphere red pill, even though I was accused of being red pill the other night, I didn't tell you about this.
Oh no, I didn't hear this.
I'm not red pill in actuality. I disagree with a lot of the stuff.
Was it a stranger or was it total strangers?
No, it wasn't a total stranger. But I disagree with a lot of stuff that I see coming out of there because I'm like, it's redundant. Why would I need to subscribe to any red pill thought to come to some of these conclusions? Also, I question the spirit of some of the gentlemen who are some of the main speakers. But with Andrew Tate being back on, it's like now you have the opportunity to publicly critique his idea. It's your responsibility as a detractor to rebut these things. And you have to have a strong argument in rebutting it. So it's like, welcome back. Now let's get to work. If you disagree with him, find the points, make it public, disagree. It is your job to be the anti to him.
RM says, did y'all hear that he's Muslim now?
Yes, I did. It's funny because
I didn't know that.
And RM also says, Alhamdulillah. RM being the only progressive that has the balls to even say the word Muslim.
All these people like Project Veritas,
right?
Babylon B, I'm very happy are back because they are just making comedy.
Right.
They're comedy gold.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't want to hear Andrew Tate because his fake British accent annoys me. I didn't know he had a fake British accent.
It's Bugatti. You don't want to hear about his Bugatti. It's a very confused accent for sure.
Are we sure it's fake or what's the deal on that one?
No, it's confused. I don't know if it's fake, but it's very confused, man. But he's back on there, and he has even said that his meteoric rise in internet fame, if he could do it over again, he would, refine it. And I don't think that I don't find that to be disingenuous. It's just foresight. It's like, oh man, if I could do it all over again.
So apparently, when he got back on, within a day, he gained 1 million followers.
Yeah.
That is the power of that. We can't even joke about that.
Yeah. Well, before we just completely write something off, what is he saying that appeals to these young men or young people? I don't know. I don't know what the demographic breakdown is, but I don't know, man. Here's my thing, right? Bob is back. Right. And all I give a fuck about in this world is getting a quality version of A versus X. Fuck Andrew Tate. No offense, Andrew. You're back. Fuck Trump. No offense, Trump. You're back. But at the end of the day, my real thing when we do fanboy is, what does this mean for entertainment and me being able to escape from the real world for...
You're saying Bob or all the Twitter returns?
Twitter returns, all that stuff, man. I don't go on Twitter. I'll read your tweets. I read RM's tweets. And then after that, I'm like, anything else is dangerous. It doesn't allow me to escape. It doesn't give me any pleasure to be on that platform.
Yeah. So basically, in summation to all these subjects that, they're all coming in, they all come down to one thing. And this is actually funny that you brought it up because the way you said, how does this help me escape? I don't know if it helps you escape because some people find politics and other shit entertaining. But here's the point: is now that we have more voices and more things to observe and engage with and debate or agree with or like or share or subscribe, and we're having all these things, it is good for us as humanity. And here's what it is. I'm not going to play that it's just like making us enlightened. I just think also it's more entertaining. It's a more entertaining Twitter with people like Tate and Trump on it.
I would not argue against that. I wouldn't argue against it. Also, I just have a thing about, banning a sitting president, right?
It's absolutely. And I was just going. I went on a rant the other day about how so several journalists, now that Trump's back, several journalists are like, we're leaving Twitter because you're letting this madman on, and I'm like, you're a journalist. It's your job to cover the things he says.
Also, I don't know if it was NBC or ABC, but one of those two pulled out of Twitter and suspended their own activity.
So you heard they came. So I think you're talking about CBS, and they said we're leaving, and they left for like a day, and then they came back.
Yeah, see, just like an ex-girlfriend.
And then you know what Elon Musk said? I loved it. He did. He took the Brokeback Mountain things, and he put like the guy up, the brother up front. He put his face on his cowboy, and then he put CBS News on the face of the other one.
Why can't I just quit you?
No, why can't I just quit you?
I've never seen that movie. But I know that's like the most iconic line. Why can't I just quit you?
That's what I'm saying. This is entertainment. This is what I love.
Okay, I dig it. I'm with you, man. I'll fucking ride this shit till the wheels fall off. I think though, at the end of the day, man. So it for me, ending, right? This is my final thought on all of it. Big Bob, here's what I need you to do. Fix Moon Knight. Fix Star Wars. Fix the MCU. Make me a fan again of everything. Or don't give me anything, right? Subjectively, I can see how I won't like everything, but you do your best part. You do your best effort. In regards to Twitter, okay, Trump's back. I don't think the world's going to come to an end. He didn't accidentally shoot a missile off into Poland. There are more pressing issues.
So check another thing I got to say. Once again, this is preemptive, but this is just what Elon has been hinting at what he's going to do for Twitter, and he might be in the business of attacking YouTube. So what it is that he had a meeting with Rumble right before he moved into the Twitter offices, and because he was saying he's like, I'm looking to add a sister adjoining video app, because he wants people to be able to, if you pay for Twitter Blue, be able to put long form videos on your Twitter. So therefore, you could just put your content directly on your Twitter.
Right.
And so originally he did that, and then he also asked people, he's like, "Oh, if I don't get Rumble, should I bring back Vine?" And people are like, "Yeah, bring back Vine or whatever." The point is, he's looking into video shit, and actually, all the American games for World Cup, he's streaming on Twitter.
See, and I'm not mad at that. I saw your tweet about Twitter Spaces as well.
Yeah.
Put some money into that, man. Make it a little bit better, man. Listen, I understand how streamlined the algorithm is, but it has proven to be discriminatory against people, period. Right? Do away with the algorithm and allow people to pick what it is they want to talk about. Even if you can't highlight small streamers like ourselves, put us in a category. Allow people to go through that category and pick topics that they want to watch. Don't allow us. Okay, I just got re-energized. So there's a dude named Nerd Guy, because it's funny. I just sent Mantis a side message like, "Hey, we got to end early. I'm dying."
Fading, you said.
I'm fading. But there's a dude by the name of Nerdgasm. Right, he does YouTube videos, and he used to be a programmer, a developer for Microsoft, hired directly by the company, not a third party, worked for them. One of his last videos in regards to Microsoft was about how he got fired. It was based off of an algorithm. It didn't have anything to do with the quality of the work he was doing. It didn't have anything to do with his tenure as a programmer and as a developer. It was an algorithm that said he didn't meet the bar, and they cut him loose.
Oh my God, that's got to drive you nuts, right?
And that's my issue with the algorithm. It doesn't actually allow fans to pick what they want to see. And not saying that Fanboy or Fight Juice will be at the top of it, but allow people to be placed in categories where the fans can decide. I'm going to scroll down to 1,000.
They decide what they think you want. And
Exactly.
so what was it? Somebody was complaining about like YouTube, because YouTube apparently like changed the algorithm again. And they said that like all they get on their things are like, I forget what it was, just weird shit they wouldn't normally watch. But the algorithm decided that they watch. They do watch it.
Right.
You see, that's absurd, right?
Hold on for a second.
Yeah. But you know, ultimately, I think that, as you know, I'm totally pro freedom of speech. Obviously, I think a social media app needs to decide whether they're going to what they're going to. You know, they can't let anything go. You know, obviously that makes sense.
No, absolutely, man. And again, this is the thing, right? So I'm not as big a like Elon Musk supporter as you, man. But if you're telling me the type of person that's come in, examine the code, examine the practices, examine how things are done, then I'm going to be with that. And I think at this point, man, whatever he does, as long as it's not what we had before. Same thing with Big Bob, man. Look at what we had before, what people are complaining about, and give them advantage to do something different.
Yeah, and you know what's funny, because the reason why I brought up that video thing is I want you to imagine something. A world where you're not edited or restricted as to what you can say. We could do our live streams, we could do our content straight to our Twitter. It's a mainstream app that will let us say what we want to see, not some fringe app. I'm on Minds, I'm on Rumble. You know, those are fringe apps. Almost nobody's on them. The engagement's so low. But imagine a mainstream one where you can say what you want and the algorithm's a little more fair.
I'm with it. And that's originally what I loved about Spoon. There weren't enough of us on there where they can decide what you couldn't see, right?
Right, exactly. Exactly. You could make waves. You can bring in all sorts of people and all that stuff. That's what was beautiful about it, you know?
Yeah. People got to decide what type of content they wanted to see. But
they
again,
just didn't want to develop that shit.
Yeah,
they should have put way more money into it.
Motherfuckers, free up the dough. No one's watching that shit in Korea. America's the only market you need to worry about. Fucking Korean Appreciation Month.
Oh, it's insane. It's insane what's going on over there.
Nonsense. My brother, I do apologize. We're at the 122.
I dig it. It is a little early. However, I do know we came on late, and I know you just worked your ass off all day.
Yes. I worked a 12-hour shift today. So
I can't believe you wanted to go on tonight.
No, but we had to, because I was looking forward to hanging out with my buddy, looking forward to talking about the War of the Bobs. I want to let you have the last word. I don't need to do any plugs. You know where to find us. Everyone's going to be off on the Hold Up TV side this week because of Thanksgiving. So, Mantis, your final words, man. You get us going here.
Okay, so I'm going to say that I too am taking this week off. You're still going to get some content out of Voice of Fat Man, so I'll review a few things, maybe a few shorts. Nothing major. It's a very busy Thanksgiving week. But the most important thing I want to say to you is I love you all, no matter what political affiliation, what side you're on, what is it? Town Square app you use, whether it's Gab or Parler or Twitter or Hive or whatever. You are loved. You are respected, and I hope you have an amazing Thanksgiving. God bless you, and thank you all for stopping in. Until next time, bitches, ciao for now.
Ciao.
Meow.